Colombia President Gustavo Petro met U.S. Representative John McNamara amidst the crisis sparked by U.S. President Donald Trump's insults and threats. The Venezuelan government marked Monday Commander Hugo Chávez's political testament speech known as Strike at the Helm with the delivery of 20,000 public works across the Bolivarian nation. In Ecuador, the national strike against Noboa's neoliberal administration reached its 29th consecutive day. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We'll begin with the news. And on Monday, a meeting was held between the President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, and the United States representative in Bogota, John McNamara. The dialogue took place amidst the crisis unleashed by the insults and threats made by U.S. President Donald Trump against his Colombian counterpart. At the end of the meeting, held at the Casa de Nariño, the Ministers of Foreign Affairs, Rosa Yolanda Villavicencio, assured that the sincere dialogue will always lead to solutions. However, no details of the meeting were released. In this context, the White House's threat to impose new tariffs on Colombia did not materialize. Before entering the meeting with the Washington envoy, President Petro assured that he was going to demand, not concede. And the Colombian president has publicly blamed U.S. President Donald Trump for the ongoing situation in Venezuela, citing Washington's economic sanctions as the root cause of mass migration and economic collapse. In a recent interview, Petro firmly stated that Colombia's military would not participate in any U.S.-led invasion of Venezuela, distancing his administration from potential regional conflict. Petro accused Trump of using punitive measures to strangle Venezuela's economy, leading to widespread displacement and instability across Latin America. The remarks come amid a sharp escalation in diplomatic tensions between Bogota and Washington. Petro also denounced what he described as a U.S. policy of domination over Colombia and the region, masked as an anti-narcotics operation.
The
person primarily responsible is Mr. Trump, and it must be said that Mr. Trump governed before. So look at what happened there. There is almost a war between Colombia and Venezuela. Mr. Trump is angry that I don't support the Americans with the Colombian army to invade Venezuela. No, sir. What kind of stupid Colombian would think of helping to invade where their cousins, their nephews, their Colombian people are, where there are 4 million people to be killed like in Gaza?
And during the interview, President Petro said that diplomatic relations with the United States were escalating in tone at the same time that bombs were falling on the Gaza Strip and missiles were being fired into the Caribbean Sea.
And the tone was rising as more bombs fell, and more children were killed in Gaza, as more and more Latin Americans were chained and handcuffed on airplanes and expelled as if they were unwanted dogs in the United States, and as they began to threaten us to the point that the same missiles that fall on Gaza also fall in the Caribbean Sea near us. We investigated whether it is more territorial or not. They did not want to give us the coordinates, so in the face of that, a president keeps silent and kneel, or a president speaks for the dignity of humanity, not just for his people. That is what I have don.
In other topics, the Venezuelan government marked Monday the Commander Hugo Chávez's political testament speech known as Strike at the Helm with the delivery of 20,000 public works across the Bolivarian nation. The works aim at consolidating the communal state and respond to the needs of communal sectors. This initiative follows various national referendums held to promote the active, democratic, and leading participation of the people. The new projects include the inauguration of the Dr. Celia Flores Robotics Room and the Estabani Barrios Community Info Center.
Todavía estamos bajo la emoción
We are still under the emotion of yesterday's channeling by the Holy Mother Carmen Rendiles here to my left, miraculous mother, learning little by little about miraculous, very miraculous cases that had been entrusted to her in a retreat, and has healed impressive cases, and she tells me, mature, that is true. I tell her, it is true that this is Venezuela. This is miraculous Venezuela. We have a spiritual and unique power. That is why they have not been able to and will not be able to, neither by good means nor by bad means, because we are a miraculous people of saints, wise women, wise men, liberators, and liberators. We are the people and receptive of Venezuela.
And during the event, President Nicolás Maduro announced the fourth popular consultation of the year to be held in late November.
Este año tuvimos la primera consulta el 2 de febrero.
This year we had the first consultation on February 2nd, the second consultation on April 27th, the third consultation on July 27th, and there is one consultation left. And since I have already the funds, I am calling the fourth communal consultation for the general elections on Sunday, November 23rd. All neighbors to vote for their communal projects in an exercise of direct democracy.
Let's now take our first break, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you can follow all the latest updates on every news happening around the world. We're going to be right back. Welcome back. Ecuador reached 29 days of national strike. Indigenous movements insist on rejecting the elimination of the diesel subsidy, among other demands against the government of Daniel Noboa. After the suspension of negotiations between the government and indigenous organizations, indigenous peoples and trade unions continue their resistance on the roads with the partial closure of several avenues. In Babura, Pichincha, Cotopaxi, and Loja are blocked by protesters demanding that their demands be met. The protesters are calling for a reduction in the value-added tax to 12%, investment in social programs, and guarantees for the country's agricultural production.
Insecurity in the country has worsened. We are in the most violent year in our history, with one death every 56 minutes. Where did that 3% bet go? It went into the hands of the International Monetary Fund. It went into the hands of the big monopolies. But not to the great needs of the Ecuadorian people. That is why we students will remain in the streets to protest against anti-popular measures, and also to defend public universities.
Well, first of all, I would like to tell the President that today, more than ever, we are calling on the student body to unite in order to combat these anti-popular neoliberal measures that affect all Ecuadorians, measures that we can see such as the increase in VAT, which was intended for security, but we continue to be one of the most dangerous countries in Latin America, and we see a homicide rate that is growing more and more, so these measures make it clear to us that the only thing this government wants is to make life precarious.
And hundreds gathered in La Paz to protest the election of centrist right candidate Rodrigo Paz as Bolivia's new president. The protests, largely led by young citizens, were sparked by allegations of irregularities in the official vote count following Sunday's runoff, in which Paz secured 34.4% of the vote against former President Jorge Quiroga. Although Quiroga publicly congratulated Paz, he also called for a review of the voting records amid growing public skepticism. Protesters marched to the Supreme Electoral Tribunal demanding an audit, with some claiming the results contradicted local polling observations. The demonstrations remained peaceful, though tensions rose as protesters attempted to enter Plaza de Armas, home to the presidential palace and Congress. In our news, Peruvian Rosa Garcia has been inducted into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. In a ceremony held on Saturday, October 18th in Holyoke, Massachusetts, Rosa Garcia was officially inducted into the Volleyball Hall of Fame. The memorable setter of Peru's golden generation, affectionately known as La China, played at the highest level for almost 2 decades and was a key member of the unforgettable team that won the silver medal at the 1982 World Championship, bronze in 1986, and 8th South American medals, 4 of them gold, as well as winning a silver medal at the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul. She was also named the best setter in the South American Championship twice, consolidating her place as one of the most influential players of her era. And on Monday in Cuba, the Vietnam-Cuba collaboration project concluded for the development of rice cultivation. The project was recognized for its significant contributions, training more than 40,000 producers and for the development of 4 new high-yield varieties. The event was attended by Cuban authorities and representatives of the Vietnamese government, led by Ambassador Lee Quan Long, and it was emphasized that cooperation has been essential for strengthening food security in the country. The project was celebrated in an environment of mutual achievement and contributed to knowledge in crucial areas such as local development, renewable energy, investment, and agricultural extension. And in Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, migrant workers denounced new strategies by ICE authorities to detain them. Daniel Rosas has the details.
La agencia migratoria en Estados Unidos,
The immigration agency in the United States is using new methods to detain those who offer their labor.
I think the strategy has gone a little too far, because now they stand at bus stops, and if they see you wearing work clothes that identify you as a day laborer, they arrest you.
Lenin ha vivido por 10 años en la
Lenin has lived in the United States capital for 10 years. He says that the situation has gone from bad to worse in recent years.
Not only have jobs declined significantly, but now we also have to hide from the persecution of President Trump's immigration policy. At the beginning of his speech, he said he was focusing on criminals, but that is not the case. He is focusing on honest people who are looking for work and who may have families and children born here. And we feel threatened, honestly, in a quite complicated situation, outside the normal.
Por eso cada vez más solicitan apoyo de
That is why they are increasingly seeking support from social organizations such as United Workers in Washington, D.C., which has established support mechanisms.
We have daily visits from colleagues who come with different cases. We are establishing a new program that we want to implement to help families with a family plan. So that they can understand the problem of deportation a little better, because it affects family unity.
Estados Unidos, al igual que otros países,
The United States, like other countries, is undergoing a process of restructuring labor relations. This is related to raids against workers.
Muchos de los migrantes que provienen de los países de
Many of the migrants who come from Latin American and Caribbean countries have suffered deportation and imprisonment. They are subject to persecution that can even be seen on the streets of major United States cities with deployments of the National Guard.
con desplazamientos de la Guardia Nacional.
agrega que es un vistazo de la
He adds that it is a sign of Donald Trump's repressive policy.
De acuerdo con la organización
According to DC Fiscal Policy Institute, the mass raids ordered by Donald Trump will not only continue to reduce the workforce, but will also increase the prices of certain products, to the detriment of United States residents themselves.
Con imágenes de Batista García, Daniel Rosas, teleSUR, Washington, D.C., Estados Unidos.
And the United States, the Senate failed on Monday for the 11th consecutive time to approve a temporary funding bill to end the government shutdown, which has been ongoing for 20 days with no visible agreement between Republicans and Democrats. The legislative session was marked by the absence of 7 senators, and the deadlock continues because the Democrats demand the inclusion of an extension of the Obamacare subsidies, which the Republicans oppose, claiming without evidence that these benefits undocumented individuals. The 20-day government shutdown has affected more than 1.3 million federal employees who are working without pay. while the administration of President Donald Trump has fired more than 4,000 employees from various agencies, and the matter is currently being resolved in the courts. And Japan's parliament elected ultra-conservative Sanae Takaishi as the country's first female prime minister Tuesday. Takaishi replaces Shigeru Ishiba, ending 3 months of political uncertainty following the Liberal Democratic Party's election loss in July. Ishiba, who served only 1 year as prime minister, resigned along with his cabinet, leading the way for his successor. Takaishi faces a tight schedule with a major policy speech, talks with President Trump, and regional summits this week. Her top priorities are tackling rising prices and rolling out economic stimulus measures by the end of December to address public frustration. While she is Japan's first female prime minister, Takaishi shows little interest in promoting gender equality or diversity. She opposes women's advancement measures, supports male-only succession for the imperial family, and rejects same-sex marriage. We have our second break coming up. As always, we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date with the latest events. We're going to be right back. Welcome back. The Israeli army killed 24 Palestinians on Monday despite the ceasefire agreement in the Gaza Strip. Authorities report that airstrikes targeted refugee camps in central Gaza, with more than 74 Gazans injured. The Gaza Ministry of Health reported that the number of deaths from Israeli attacks since October 7, 2023 rose to more than 68,000, while more than 170,000 have been injured. In addition, the Gazan government condemned the deliberate attacks and excessive arrests carried out by the Zionist regime against the civilian population, which have left around 100 people dead since the start of the truce. The authorities reiterated that Israeli actions are a flagrant violation of international humanitarian law. The Israeli occupation forces admitted that since the ceasefire, they have killed dozens of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, claiming that civilians approached the so-called Yellow Line in an area of Israeli military deployment in the Palestinian territory. The rains that hit Honduras caused serious damage, particularly in the Central District, one of the most vulnerable areas of the country, to this natural phenomenon. Karim Duarte has more.
El Distrito Central enfrenta una de las emergencias
The
más
Central District is facing one of the most severe emergencies in recent years, with damages estimated at approximately $30 million, according to municipal authorities. The damage is concentrated in road infrastructure, housing, and mitigation works that collapsed due to soil saturation.
The damage and losses reported in the Central District exceeded an amount approximately equal to $30 million. That is the damage assessment that we have generated and reviewed with all our teams, and we continue to move forward. We are moving forward with the reconstruction of the areas that the condition of the soil and the weather allow us to work on at this time, such as Lorenal Funes, as well as the reconstruction of the part of this box that was undermined in the Center of America area and other areas that require the use of machinery.
El sector privado ofreció apoyo técnico y
The private sector offered technical and financial support to strengthen recovery plans, ensuring lasting works that mitigate future disasters and extend attention beyond Tegucigalpa to other vulnerable communities.
We have a message as the construction chamber, and that is that we have wanted to collaborate. We will continue with that desire to collaborate in what pertains to technical and financial planning in order to improve conditions, not only in Tegucigalpa, but also in the Central District. Let us remember that there are a large number of communities that require the attention and support of the various, let us say, authorities.
A nivel nacional, la Secretaría de Infraestructura y Transporte
At the national level, the Secretariat of Infrastructure and Transportation has deployed machinery in several departments to respond to the emergency. However, many families in neighborhoods and villages in the Central District continued to be affected, living amid rubble, waiting for construction to accelerate before the rains return.
La maquinaria de nosotros la hemos desplegado a todos
We
los
have deployed our machinery to all departments. We have it in Peredo right now, we have it in Copan, we have it in Loro, we have it in the Francisco Morazan sector, in Talanga, in El Porvenir, we have machines being transferred to Choluteca. Today, for the first time in 40 years, the government of President Xiomara Castro has machinery to respond to emergencies. That is why the machinery was purchased to respond to emergencies, so we hope for the full cooperation of the population, but we also call on the mayors. Send the specialists, the damage assessments, send the engineers, and that way we can know where to act and how to best focus our energies.
dónde actuar y cómo focalizar mejor nuestras energías.
Según el informe nacional emitido por Copeco,
According to the national report issued by the Honduran Secretariat of State for Risk and Contingency Management, there are 7,883 families affected and 35,102 people impacted throughout the country. In addition, 3,810 homes were damaged, and 89 were destroyed, and 3,350 for families. 15,132 people have received humanitarian assistance.
para Telesur, desde Tegucigalpa, Honduras, Karim Duarte.
And a thick layer of smog blanketed the Indian capital on Tuesday, a day after millions celebrated the Hindu festival of Diwali with fireworks that sent air pollution levels soaring to hazardous levels across the city. According to health authorities, the chemical components of fireworks combined with the seasonal pollution and weather conditions raised the air quality index above 350, a level considered severe and dangerous to breathe, according to the World Health Organization. Last week, the Supreme Court of India eased the general ban on firecrackers in New Delhi during Diwali, allowing the limited use of eco-friendly firecrackers that emit less pollutants. The court had said they could be used during specific hours from Saturday to Tuesday, but as in previous years, the rule was mostly ignored. That is, we have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can join us on our social media and also on our website at telesurenglish.net. Join our Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok account. Telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.